Guys, Coach Marco Robert here, and thank you so much for checking my channel. Today I want to talk to you about how to change your mindset and attitude and have the kind of life that you're actually looking for. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. When I travel around the world and I give speeches, one of the questions I get asked the most at the end of these speeches is, Marco, how do I actually change my mindset and my attitude? So this is a very, very common question. So I really want to address it in depth with you guys. At the end of the day, this is how it works. Scientists will tell you that we are unconscious probably about 95% of the time. In other words, 95% of the time, what we do unconsciously, or it's subconsciously. So in other words, we're only conscious about 5% of the time, right? So in other words, when you're deciding to go to the fridge and get a bottle of water, you're not really thinking. Your body is thirsty, you grab a bottle of water, you're not thinking, that's the reason why, I don't know if it's happened to you before, but let's say you drive to work every day of the week and you get to this junction in the road and you have to turn right to go to work. And then on Saturday or on Sunday, you decide to go visit a friend. So you're taking the same road, but then when you get to the junction, you're supposed to turn left to go see your friend. But you're so not thinking. You're operating like a robot, and then you don't realize it, and then you get to the junction and you turn right. And you're like, oh, shoot. I wanted to turn left. I don't know if that's happened to you before, but it's very common because we're not using a lot of our consciousness. We're unconscious most of the time, right? And this is not just me saying this. This is neuroscientists. This is psychologists. This is people that have studied, sociologists, people that have studied the condition of man for a long, long time. So how do we actually use what I just told you to actually improve our mindsets? Well, in other words, what I just said is that most of your life is actually guided by habits, right? So if you are aware, if you are awake 5% of the time, that 5% of the time should be focused on creating new habits that actually are going to guide your life to exactly where you want to go, that are going to guide your mind and your attitude to have the kind of mindset that you actually want. So how do you change that? Well, let's start by understanding what areas of your life should you try to change. Number one, your physiology. What does that mean? Your physiology is actually your body. How do you stand? What kind of facial expression do you have? How's your neck? How's your shoulder? Are you like this? Or are you like this? Is your face frowning? Or are you smiling? Is your chest like this? Or is your chest like this? Are you sitting and slouching, or are you standing and full of energy? See, by simply changing your body physiology, you automatically send a message to your brain to actually start feeling and thinking differently. The reality is that your current physiology is nothing more than a habit. So by consciously making a decision to change that, you automatically will start affecting your life in a much more positive way. I remember when I was in my 20s and I realized that, and I started to stand differently. I started to breathe differently. I started to put a smile on my face. And I swear to you guys, everything in my life changed. So just number one, change your physiology. Create new body and physical habits. Number two, your language. See, the words that you use actually condition and program your mind to think in a certain way. Right? I remember one time I was attending a seminar in Las Vegas, and the speaker started to talk about how important the language was. And then there was a gentleman from Hawaii. Like, imagine this guy, very Hawaiian looking, with tattoos, big guy, and he stands up with a lot of authority and he starts talking. And he's not asking a question. Imagine like there's 500 people in this room. We're all attending this seminar. And then the guy on stage is talking about the importance of language. This guy from Hawaii, stands up and he starts talking about how language is important in the Hawaiian language. I mean, you could have heard a pin drop in that room. Everybody was paying attention to this guy. He was speaking with authority. And he said, in the Hawaiian language, we do not have bad words because we respect the language so much, because we respect ourselves so much. And this guy goes on for like 10 minutes talking about how reverent they are towards language in the Hawaiian language. It changed my life. It really, really did change my life, because the words we use, most of the time, again, it's just a habit. You're kind of using the same words that the people around you are using all the time. So if you grew up in a family that actually likes to use vile or angry language, that's probably the kind of language you're using. And then you're probably feeling those emotions, and it's affecting the results of your life, and it's affecting your mindset and your attitude. Now, if you grow up in a family that is more reverent, more Hawaiian, more respectful, you're probably using that kind of language as well, and it's also affecting your life better. Now, how do we use that? Well, you need to, are there times in your life when you want to use more of an aggressive language? Absolutely. Probably before you're about to do something meaningful, before you're about to compete, you want to be more aggressive with your language. But in most day-to-day occurrences, you probably want to use more of a more, tuned down language, right? And then so I invite you to create a habit of using the appropriate language to program your mind and your attitude in the way that you want to achieve. Okay? That was number 2. Number three is actually the focus of your mind. What do you focus on? There was a great book written by a gentleman by the name of Viktor Frankl, who talked about this concept of meaning. What kind of meaning do we associate to things? And again, in most cases, we tend to associate meanings by habit. I'm shooting this during the coronavirus and the mayhem that's happening because of Black Lives Matters throughout America right now. And then you see what's going on there, really, right? It's just that certain groups of people have actually associated certain meanings to certain events in their lives. And now they're choosing to be very angry about all of these things. Are they right? Absolutely they're right. But could they be looking at a different version of this? Could they associate a different meaning? Absolutely as well, right? Because the proof is in the pudding, like they say. 6 months ago, the same people, were having the same experiences, but associating a different meaning to those experiences. Today, they choose to associate a meaning that is probably a little bit more captivating, a meaning that is more engaging. It leads some people to actually be violent because the meaning is so, captivating right now. So you have to, in those few moments of awareness, of consciousness, and that's 5% of the time when you are aware, you need to be very selective of what kind of meanings you want to associate to what's going on around you. Be careful not to use anecdotes or small events and actually generalize the meaning of that event. Just because one person treats you in a certain way, it doesn't mean that an entire race is treating you that way. Just because one bus driver might be might be addressing you wrong, doesn't mean that all the bus drivers in the world are actually bad people. You understand? So we tend to create meanings based on anecdotal facts of life. One little situation and we create a meaning. Be very careful. You can choose the meanings that you associate and that you can actually create habits with. And then that's how you can actually start affecting your mindset and your attitude. And that's how, in the end, you end up having an amazing, amazing life. Okay? So guys, it's very simple. You're conscious 5% of the time. So in those moments of consciousness, choose to create habits of physiology, habits of language, and habits of mental focus or meaning that actually will empower you in the future. Guys, this is Coach Marco. If you enjoyed this video, and then if you want to watch more of my videos, I invite you to like this video. I invite you to subscribe to this, and you'll see there's also a little bell-like icon. Just click on that bell to be reminded as I upload more and more videos. Also, if you care to comment on the video, I read all the comments, and sometimes I even actually comment back and we engage in some discussions. So it's kind of a cool thing. And there's also probably another video that's about to pop up somewhere here. So just click on that video, and then I'll see you in the next video. This is Coach Marco Robert. See you next time. Guys, this is Coach Marco Robert. Remember, if you keep on doing what you've always done, you're going to keep on getting what you've always gotten. Click on the next videos and continue your education.